isn't this common sense? But I guess that it's
all
not.
I knew was that the green giant walked by, picked all the produce up, and put it in a can.
He just scoops up with his little buddy Sprout. Yeah, they just do their thing.
That's all I ever knew about farming.
And now,
Aye, I'm the captain now.
coming to you from the K2 Studios in San Diego, California.
This sounds great. You sound amazing.
I always sound amazing.
It's the world famous
Everybody's hitting off like BFFs.
Kris and Kristine Show.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? How are you doing today? Thank you so much for listening. And I am Kris.
And I'm Kristine, and welcome to episode 119 of the Kris and Kristine Show.
Fantastic. 119 is like my favorite number.
Oh, that's old, Kris. Like you.
Yes, I'm actually 119 years old, to tell the truth.
Well, do you know what it almost is?
Christmas?
Almost my birthday month.
Birthday month for Kristine.
Have you already started planning my birthday extravaganza?
Of course I have.
I'm so glad because...
Actually, no. Mental note. Kristine has a birthday coming up.
Oh, you booger. I've already been planning my birthday for a long time. I have the majority of it planned, like 75%.
Wait a second. You're not supposed to plan your birthday.
Yes, because I am doing a branding photo shoot on my birthday.
No way. Branding?
For Christine Smith Designs. I'm getting my hair done, my makeup done. I hired a photographer. We're going to do so many fancy photos. Maybe I'll get you dolled up and have you come take some professional photos with me. Maybe we'll do couples photos.
Really?
I don't know. Maybe we could do some like romantical things.
So for your business photos, are you going to have actual like flowers and all kinds of decorations that you made for the shoot?
A couple. I think I'll do like a bouquet and then have some loose flowers that I look like I'm styling. And then I'll have like my planner or my laptop. So it's like me working. So it's like action shots of me.
Ooh, action shots behind the camera, behind you working on your flowers and maybe doing your laptop stuff. Maybe you should like act like you're like the juggler.
Act like I'm like.
You know those old, I don't think pictures where they have like the crazy college professor or something where they're kind of juggling like the laptop and the chalkboard at the same time. You're like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, kind of thing.
What are you even talking about?
You'll
now,
figure it out.
Weirdo.
Yeah. No. Well, it'll be like a fun shot, like you juggling the laptop and you juggling like flowers or something.
Yeah, juggling is probably not the right image that people want to see their wedding planner doing. Calm, professional. Yeah, that's about it. Nice aesthetics. But anyways, it's almost my birthday month. So happy end of February to you.
I know. February went by so fast. What is up with that? It's almost like as if the month has got short days or something. Or short.
It really is a short month.
No way.
Yep.
Check that out.
It really is a short month. Did you know that I have big plans for February 29th?
No, what's on the 29th of February?
There is no 29th of February.
Wait, no, I got it on my calendar right here, 29th of February.
No, only on the... Wait, there's a 29th on leap year only, right?
Oh, maybe I got the wrong calendar then.
Is it leap year?
No, I don't think so.
Well, when is leap... No, I think so. I think on a leap year...
No, that was last year we leaped year.
I know,
remember?
But I think that on a leap year is when February 29th happens, right?
Yes.
I actually have a friend who was born on a leap year day.
It's funny if you say that. They're born on the leap year day. Because it only happens every how many years, right?
Right, every 4.
4 years. So in reality, they're only X amount of years old.
I know.
But really they aren't or they are.
I have a friend that's like 15.
No way.
Well, not even that. Wait, 15 times 4? I don't know. It's crazy.
That really will pay off more when you're like 60 and you say, I'm only like 35.
Yeah. Oh, no, 15. That would be what it is. If you're 60, you'd be 15 years old.
Whoa.
We're on a tangent. Anyways, welcome back to Studio A. And it's A for awesome because we are back in the digs.
That's right. You got the whole futon couch set up for you to sit on, your lounge chair.
I was going to say it's not a futon, and then I remembered it is actually a futon, but it's a fancy futon.
It is a very fancy futon.
But we're back in Studio A, and how was it for you getting everything set back up here?
Well, I had to remember how to plug these cords in. I'm like, where's this cord go? Where does this go? And how do you... Okay, give me a minute. Let me figure this out. And I'm thinking like, oh, wait, backtrack. Wait, I could do this in order. I'm kind of a person that has to do everything like in order.
Kind of?
Yeah, well, exactly. If things aren't done in order, it just totally throws me off. And so I have to go back.
Say.
I have to go back to the very beginning.
Like
step
an
one.
example of that sentence right there.
There you go. See?
You had to go back to step 1. Go ahead.
And then once I go to step 1, 2, 3, 4, I guess I'm very like systematic that way. I'm like built like a computer, you know?
That's one way to say it. Built like a computer.
I'm like a robot. I'm like the Terminator, maybe a little bit.
I don't know if you're like a Terminator. I was thinking more like C-3PO.
That could be it. I don't know if I can do a C-3PO impression. I don't know if I can.
No, let's not try it.
I have to hear him say something, and I might be able to repeat it, but I haven't
on a future episode of the Kris and Kristine
I have to do some practice, definitely.
Well, you've got your Mickey Mouse voice down pat, so we got to work on some.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, that thing is swell.
That sounds so creepy.
Does it really now?
Yeah, it sounds creepy.
Oh, well, it depends when you add context to it. Like, how do you do it?
Add context to it?
Well, it's like if, say, Mickey Mouse is like, I don't know, shopping for lingerie, maybe? It might sound kind of weird.
I thought you were going to say shopping for laundry. Why'd you have to go PG-13 all of a sudden?
Okay.
You know Mickey would never be doing that.
Or maybe Mickey Mouse was gambling and he won a big jackpot. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy.
You're such a goofball.
Well, thank you. I try, you know.
Have you ever tried to audition for Disney with your Mickey sound? Your Mickey voice?
Who do you think does the Mickey Mouse up at Disneyland?
Oh,
hey now.
Oh, you know what? Speaking of Disneyland, today when I was driving back from LA from my meetings with my clients, for the first time ever, I saw a semi-truck. It was bright yellow and it said Disneyland Resort, and the whole trailer, it had those roll down canvasy sides, and it was like Avengers Campus. But it was like a big truck like you drive. You should drive truck for Disneyland Resort.
Okay, first off, sure wasn't a bus, like a tour bus?
No. It was a yellow cabbed semi-truck. I almost took a picture, and then it was it had a trailer on the back with the roll down sides. You know, like you have the clothy kind of canvasy sides that they can roll down.
Yeah.
But the whole thing was printed with Avengers Campus. But then it was bright yellow and it said Disneyland Resort on the truck. And I was like, you should go truck for Disneyland.
Oh, well, they might. They're probably bringing in parts and supplies for their Disney.
And it's probably top secret.
Yeah, the new ride, the new Avengers ride. But
it was an actual Disneyland Resort truck. It wasn't
I've never seen those.
Me either. That's why I was and it was bright yellow. I'm talking Pittsburgh Steelers yellow.
Maybe the guy really likes Disneyland. The owner, maybe? He's like, I'm a Disneyland fan.
It said Disneyland Resort. And then the trailer had all of the graphics and stuff on it. And I thought that was so cool. And I thought, I wonder if they really do hire drivers. I wouldn't want you to drive all the way up to Anaheim to go and work for Disneyland.
Oh, I'm sure that guy drives across country.
I know, right?
It's not just around the corner.
I know.
I was going to ask you, did you ever happen to notice when the guy had his arm out the window, you saw the I Heart Mickey Mouse the tattoo across his forearm?
No. All I saw was I am the real Buzz Lightyear.
Oh, okay. Definitely. To infinity and beyond?
To infinity and beyond.
That's what his license plate said?
Yeah. Do you know what, though? Speaking of Buzz Lightyear, did you know that there's a new Buzz Lightyear movie coming out from Disney?
Yeah, I saw a preview of it. Was it last year or the year before last? And they had try to get that really more realistic, photorealistic animation to the character. It's not this cartoony looking toy.
Right.
It's more like a real person.
Yeah, at first I almost thought it was going to be a live action movie when you start watching it. And I'm like, no, that's a cartoon, but man, that's real looking.
Well, remember some of those new Disney Pixar movies like Coco and what was the other one I just saw?
Encanto, is that the new one?
Yeah, but I haven't seen it though. But yeah,
I
haven't seen what you mean. I know how they get really photorealistic these days. And they're trying to go for that realism stuff, which is kind of cool, I guess. I mean, I always like that kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah. Well, speaking of liking stuff, what did you like about your week this week, Kris?
Well, the good things about my week is that on my other podcast, Podtastic Audio, you can find that on the old interweb, clickety click at podtastic.com/podtastic-audio.
You said clickety click too many times. You almost forgot your website, dude.
Well, that's what happens when you're on the web search.
I know. It's what happens when you're a big deal.
Yeah, no,
you're a big deal.
I know. Look up Podtastic Audio. You'll find it. Google it, whatever. But
okay, well, what happened on Podtastic Audio this week?
I always try to release an episode every single week, if possible. Now, it doesn't always happen, but if possible, I can. I like to try to pull something up. So I had an interview scheduled last week on Thursday. Or was it Thursday or Wednesday?
I don't know, but regardless, you had an interview.
So I wanted to make sure I had the interview saved, recorded, saved, and edited before I released it for last week. So instead of having to just jump into a regular episode, I was planning on using the interview I had already booked. So interview came on. The girls were a little bit late. Oh, they weren't late.
Girls or ladies?
I'm sorry, lady. I had 2 ladies on the show from another podcast. They do a podcast about movies. The funny thing is, these 2 girls, ladies. They both used to work at Blockbuster Video back in the day, back in the 90s.
Oh, you know what? I heard them say that because I was listening to your episode this week, and you were asking them about like Hollywood Video versus Blockbuster.
Yeah, well, I was wondering if they're. I was trying to get them to say like they were like enemies. Like they were like. Like, what do you call it? They have a beef with each other, the different Blockbuster employees versus the Hollywood Video employees.
Who had the cheaper late fees.
I don't even remember that stuff, but they both used to work there back in the 90s, early 2000s. So they decided to create a podcast based around those movies that they used to, be the video store clerks for. One of them actually was a manager at one point, or assistant manager. And they worked there. And,
so they totally talk about like all of the 90s and early 2000s movies.
Yeah, it's kind of like their wheelhouse. It's kind of nice. And they also talked a little bit about because one of them used to work in marketing. So I asked her about marketing for the podcast. Did you learn any tips or tricks? And she said, yeah, obviously. And the other one worked in video editing and that kind of stuff. So she knew how to do some editing stuff. So between the 2 of them, they were able to pull it off. And they don't live together or in the same state. Right. One lives in Texas, other one lives in Florida. So they
wow.
Yeah, you're everything via the Zoom. Like they're running that Zoom train.
Via the Zoom?
You sound
like an old man.
The Zoom.
They did it via the Zoom.
The Zoom. That Zoom should be like a new energy drink, really. You should call it the Zoom. Zoomies.
Yeah, we say that Clover has the Zoomies. But so that was the only interview you did? I thought that you did something yesterday, too.
Yeah, being that Saturday, I actually had another interview booked on Saturday. I had her come on. She was a little bit late, but I texted her and she was, oh, don't worry. I'm just running real late. No big deal. I'll be right there. Because I was getting kind of worried. We've had no shows on this show. And I told her, like, not that I don't trust you or anything like that, just that we've had people, like, book and then they don't show and they can't get a hold of them. You text them.
Yeah, and they never text you back or anything.
Yeah, it was just a total ghost. And
it's like worse than ghosting for dating.
Well, I had to explain to her that we are both very busy. You're very busy with your business and your stuff, and I'm busy with my stuff. And to have time to actually have a guest come even on here, it's like a miracle of the stars aligning. So when they do align and we're able to book an hour to do an interview, it takes a lot of energy and focus and a lot of scheduling on our part. So if the guest decides not to even show up, it's like a big slap in the face. So
yeah, but she did show up.
Yeah, she did.
And how'd it go?
It went great. She was an author and she's something called a beta reader. Now I asked her. I heard of beta fish before. Is it kind of like that? No, it's a beta reader. Now, what beta reader does is they read the story of an author before it kind of goes through the publishing process. So like before it goes to the publisher, for them to do the final edit and all that stuff, it goes to a beta reader.
Isn't that an editor? No,
it's before the editor it's like in the chain of events.
Oh, I've never even heard of that. So she must read a lot of crappy stuff.
Yeah, but also she gives revises and she'll like tell the author like change this character's dynamic or this. She'll give more. I think the editor may just kind of go with like flow and grammar. I think she also does a little bit of that stuff, but a little more in depth of the storytelling process and things like that. So
that's really cool. How'd you meet up with her?
Actually, a friend of mine, another podcaster, actually sent me an email and suggested that she come on the show because he listens to my podcast, and he came on my podcast, and so he's also an author too. So I guess they're in the author club.
That's really awesome. That's really cool that you were able to interview somebody like that. Did you learn anything?
Yeah, I learned a lot, and she learned a lot too. And she's just funny because she said she was taking down notes of things I was suggesting and all this stuff. And we talked for a little bit longer than we probably should have.
I know. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you this. Kris and I had coffee yesterday morning, and we were talking about how busy our schedules have been because I've been traveling a lot for work and have had a lot of weddings. And, it used to be, Kris, that you didn't mind that I was gone so much. And my love language has always been quality time. But you've been the one lately that's been like craving more quality time together.
Yes,
right?
I have. Yeah. I missed you so much this week. I think with working and you being gone for the weekend and everything.
Well, yes. So, somebody's got to earn the money. I got to wear the pants of the family over here. Just joking. That wasn't very nice. I'm sorry. So I was, we were sitting and having coffee together, everybody. And then we were talking about, making it a point to spend time together. So I cleared my schedule for the rest of the day to be home and to be present for my wonderful husband. And then what does he go and do? Spends 3.5 hours podcasting. Oh, his interview didn't just go for an hour. He was behind closed doors for almost 2 hours and then editing it. So much so that I fell asleep on the couch in the sitting room with my computer, waiting for him to get done. By the time that he comes out of the office and emerges from there, it's dark. Nobody's fed because he said he was going to be in charge of food. And then he's like, okay, I got his reservations. They're in 2 hours.
Well, I got
what time were our reservations?
Restaurant in town.
And what time were our reservations?
8:00.
Yes. So our day together ended up being coffee in the morning and then a dinner at 8:00 when everybody was tired.
That's right. And here we are podcasting in Studio A. It's a full circle of life, baby.
I guess so. But yeah, we've both been super busy. And so, I'm grateful that we were able to still make time to put this episode together today. And I know that it's a little bit later than normal in terms of later in the weekend, but really happy that we're going to be able to get this episode out today, right?
Absolutely. Put on a happy face.
And speaking of that, we have a fantastic guest that is joining us this week. She has some very interesting hobbies, and she's going to be back and telling us about that right after this.
Hey, thank you so much for being a loyal listener of the Kris and Kristine Show. And as that you are a loyal listener, we have a very fun opportunity for you to get involved with the show.
Ooh, tell me more.
If you like to get exclusive content you can't get anywhere else and to receive free merchandise shipped to you every single month,
ooh, I want that.
Then head over to patreon.com/The Kris and Kristine Show. That is patreon.com/The Kris and Kristine Show. Welcome back, everybody. And today we are joined by a YouTuber who was a single mother, I guess she still is, and bought a house all by herself. Check that out. Please welcome to the show, Erica Wilson.
Well, welcome to the show, Erica.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you on here. So where in the world are you joining us from today?
I am in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and it is very chilly today, but was in the 60s yesterday, so it's pretty weird right now. But
do you guys get a lot of snow out there, or no?
We get a little bit of snow. Last week we got, I don't know how many inches, but we got a pretty good amount to keep us from having to drive to work. We had to work from home and stuff.
Oh,
but, yeah.
Work from
Kids
home.
were out of school.
Oh, wow. See, I was always wondering about that now after the pandemic, if there's really such a thing as a snow day anymore, or if the kids have to log on and do distance learning from home.
That's exactly my question. Why didn't they do that? But my daughter kind of explained it to me, and she said the only time that they do distance learning is if the teachers are able to actually physically go to school and be in the classroom where they have all their resources and everything. So it was, they actually had snow days, 3 snow days.
Oh, wow. Well, if I was a teacher, I just, have a truck deliver snow to my front yard so I would be able to work from home. Kids have a few snow days.
Right.
We actually do have heat days out here. I remember going to school.
What? No, you don't.
Yeah. Well, my high school didn't have air conditioning on half the classrooms or something. So what they would do, if the temperature, they saw the forecast getting to around 90 to 100 degrees, they would do a minimum day schedule. So they cut the classes by half. So everybody get out here by 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock or whatever. Or no, noon, I guess.
You're dating yourself, Kris, because now you're when I was young, we didn't even have air conditioning.
Yeah, that sounds like a pretty good school day to me. Yeah. Go and jump in the pool afterward.
Yeah, definitely. I'd much rather have a warm or a heat day than a snow day, I think, because there is that option to cool off.
So you're in Tulsa. We know a couple people from Tulsa, actually. I believe the great podcaster Derek Duvall, I heard he's from Tulsa.
Yes, he is. And I actually know him. He's a local celebrity.
What?
No. A local celebrity?
No.
You got an inside scoop? What's going on?
That's awesome.
No.
We love the Derek Duvall show, and he actually connected us. So thank you so much for agreeing to be on our show today. We're really excited to learn more about you. So are you a person that's a native to Tulsa? What do we call him? You a Tulsan?
A Tulsan, huh?
Tulsan. Well, I grew up about 30 minutes outside of Tulsa in a town called Claremore. And then probably, let's see here, 2007 or so, I moved to Tulsa full time. So, yeah.
Now, is Tulsa like a big city like we would imagine like Los Angeles, or is it more of a rural metropolitan type of setup?
I would say rural. I can't really say that.
Yeah, that's
it's like 30 Rock, rural. It's a smaller city, I guess you could say, but I've never been to Los Angeles and I don't really know a comparison. So
have you ever been out here to California?
I have not. The farthest west I've been is Colorado, but I'm anxious to come and visit and see what it's like. So maybe I can let you guys know and we can meet up in person.
Yes, absolutely.
That'd be awesome.
Well, let me tell you, the Los Angeles is not what you see in the movies. It's not like the movie Clueless, like everywhere you go. It's
what part of LA are you in, Kris? It's totally like that.
Oh, it is.
OMG.
Rodeo Drive everywhere
Like
you go.
OMG.
Oh, no, I'm not expecting that, but
No, but it's definitely an interesting place to visit. So yeah, you definitely have to come out for a visit to California. But so you moved from the more suburb areas into the city. And so is it like, can you go through Tulsa and actually find neighborhoods, or do people live in all like apartments and condos in Tulsa?
Oh, no, there's housing areas and Tulsa proper and then Tulsa downtown. So I live in, I guess, what you would call Tulsa proper. We call it Midtown is the area that I live in. But in Claremore, it was, it's a small town, but we lived what I would consider out in the country because we didn't have, there weren't very many houses at the time whenever I was living, growing up and everything in the area that we lived in. So it was like out of city limits there.
So you actually grew up in the city of Tulsa?
No, she said in Claremore.
Claremore.
Yeah.
So is that Tulsa like county?
No, it's Rogers County is what they consider it.
Okay,
like Will Rogers. If you guys have ever heard of Will Rogers.
Yeah. Kris is like, he's like trying his geography. He's inventing new counties. Tulsa County.
It's northeast of Tulsa. Well, I'll say that. So
Wait, is that closer to Texas or the other way around? No, Texas is below you, right?
Yeah, Texas is way below us.
This is what I deal with over here.
Do you guys have to run to the Texas border to get like booze and stuff? Is that a thing?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you would think we would, because we were in sort of like dry county, but now we can order beer to go and stuff like that. So
wait,
not in dry.
It used to be a dry county,
like a dry state, I guess you could say.
State is, I think,
but
too.
not in my days. But
I thought you were saying like now. I was like, I didn't know that type of stuff still happened, and that people would choose to live there. That's crazy.
But they've changed their laws in the past few years to where we can, like order to go stuff, like to go beer and alcohol, and actually have buy cold beer in liquor stores and at breweries and stuff like that. Well, so you weren't able to do that before.
Back in the day.
Well, in the last 3 years, 4 years, something like that.
Oh, it's that recent?
Yeah, that part of it, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Well,
and allowing children to go to breweries with us,
Really? Children
like
drink beer in Tulsa now? Check that. What's the age limit? 12? Or is that like England I'm thinking of? Or maybe it's Europe. Somewhere in Europe, I heard kids can drink it like super young.
It's like 16.
In France, maybe?
Yeah, 16. As long as you have an adult with you, I think.
Oh, really? Or not Big
At
Brother?
16. Yeah.
Well, so switching gears from being is it an Oklahomian?
No, they're Okies. They're Okies.
Oh, see, I thought
I knew that.
I thought that was a stereotype that you weren't supposed to say it. All right, so
that's funny that you said that, because I had a friend that was from India, and he was like, "Oh, you're just an Okie," and he goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Did I offend you?" And I was like, "No, that's what I am."
Well, so living in Oklahoma and being an Okie, we saw in your bio that you've been a single mom from a pretty young age. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Well, actually, I'm sorry. I must have written that incorrectly, but I was about 25 when I had my daughter, and she, about 2 years old is whenever I got the divorce from her dad, and when she was 2 years old. And just been navigating it ever since and doing the best that I can,
Yeah, well, we've all been divorced here. I've been divorced, I had kids, and Kristine was divorced. She had her son. So we know exactly what that's like to kind of like, it's a struggle into the whole, I feel like the world is like, dropped off, and you're trying to figure out what to do next.
Right. And navigating life as a single parent, and it looks like a single parent to a teenager, is something that I think both Kris and I can relate to. And so I guess my question for you is, what is life like parenting in Oklahoma? Because we know in California, there's all different types of complications with raising kids. Is Oklahoma a pretty conservative or a pretty liberal kind of state?
Well, I guess there's maybe two sides to that coin, because it's pretty conservative. We're a red state, but there are, quite a few people that are pretty relaxed with that they're not too uptight about some things, and I feel like it's getting a little better as well. But yeah, with raising her and bringing her up, I was able to find a good community of people just to kind of rally with me, so I definitely haven't done it. I've done it on my own, but I've had lots of friends that are very generous with their time and help, and, helping me with my mental stability too, just keeping me sane with everyday life,
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think that, there's a lot of individuals that are struggling with navigating being a single parent. And that's one of the things that people don't talk about very often is, how do you find time as a single parent to take care of yourself and your mental well-being? So is there anything in your life that you've done that has helped you practice self-care or meditation? Or I know some people do outdoors types of activities.
Yeah. Whenever kind of early on, I did a lot of 5K running and half marathons, did things like that. I also take pictures, photography and things.
Really?
And then
digital or regular photography?
Digital. I wish regular. I wish I had a darkroom. That was so amazing.
Okay. Is there really a difference between the two? I don't know.
Yeah. It's more organic to do it, I guess, with a film.
Right.
But the good part with having it digital, you have instant, you can see everything.
Right. And you can
what you've done.
To like it or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
And edit.
How big? Now, what I was always wondering about this photography, especially digital photography. At what point does the megapixels in the camera really make a difference? What's the sweet spot, you think? Do you know?
Oh man, I don't know. I'm probably the wrong person. I'm very.
She likes to enjoy the hobby of photography more than the technicality of it.
All right, just trying to figure it out. I remember back in my day, you got a 3 megapixel camera. You were the bomb. Wow, 3 megapixel. Check you out. Hot stuff.
Oh yeah.
So
Same thing with these phones. I just got a new iPhone and I'm blown away by the clarity of everything.
Oh yeah,
definitely. So it's amazing.
So in addition to photography, I think I saw a little birdie told me that you do some outdoor fun stuff that helps soothe your soul. What is that fun hobby that you have?
Yeah, I totally buried the lead. We got distracted by the whole camera thing.
Sorry, I do that.
But, yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, so I have a garden that when we moved into this house, well, to kind of go back from the time that I got the divorce, I stayed with my parents, which they've helped me out immensely also, my family and my brother and my little brother and everything, but stayed with them for a little while because you got to get back on your feet and everything.
Right.
And then got an apartment. So we lived in an apartment until 2019. And when I finally was able to buy a house, and now I've always wanted to start a garden, and I did that pretty much, the next season that I could. And so I've been doing that, and it's been helping quite a bit, kind of turned into craziness. And then I started an Instagram page for it, taking pictures and doing all the stuff. And then I decided to go ahead and do a YouTube channel.
Fantastic.
I'm doing some videos with that.
Now, I know that if you had an apartment, did you have any space at the apartment to actually do any kind of gardening, a small flower bed, something simple and small at all?
No, I couldn't do any of that stuff. There was a point where we had new management, and the lady said, well, you can try it, but in this little area that was all just dirt, no grass would grow or anything like that. But there were other young children there, and they would dig and do things and kind of mess it up. So it was kind of
was it a community area? Not really your area, but okay, shared area. So I guess when you buy your first house, so it's your first house, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Oh, that's quite an accomplishment.
Well, congratulations. As a single parent saving up to be able to purchase a home, we know what a big deal that is. I know that Kris has walked that journey himself. And so when you were looking for a house, was because you weren't able to have space at your apartment, was having a yard really important to you?
Yes, very important. And even though Audrey's, she's 17, she's still like at the time, she was 15, I believe. And she still loved to run around. And the minute I knew the first thing whenever I bought this house, because I surprised her with it.
Oh, wow.
So she didn't know nothing was going on at all?
She had kind of suspected a few things, and the story is she told her friends, I really think my mom's buying a house because I was like stressing over all this stuff. I mean, and we had been looking from November of 2018 until I bought the house in May, or it was like the end of April of 2019. But I knew that if I got a big yard, Audrey's first thing would be she would do a couple laps around it because she just loves space, Yeah. And sure enough, she did that. Yeah.
Now, a lot of the houses out there, I don't know, we're not from Oklahoma, but do a lot of the houses have big yards, big lots, most for the most part?
I wouldn't say big, but it's a good amount. And I looked it up, and I have 0.21 of an acre.
So it's more than 2. So, no, 0.2.
0.21.
Yeah,
so it's like just about a quarter of an acre.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's a good amount of space for you two ladies.
Is it a usable lot? Like, is it not like a lot of rock or sand or anything like that? It's like all good soil and stuff?
It's pretty good soil. It has a little clay in it, but not too bad. It's, things grow pretty well. And, I'll bring in topsoil and compost and stuff like that.
Okay. So if you're going to start a garden, anywhere, what's like the first thing you got to do?
Well, I'm not an expert, but what I do is I find the space, till it up a little bit. And then the ones that I've been working with is I have raised beds. And then I also have some container, do some container gardening and stuff like that, but mostly the raised beds. And so we tilled up the grass and everything and built raised beds with timbers, and then filled it up the rest of it, with topsoil and a mixture of compost as well.
Oh, that's
and then
compost.
Just kind of, yeah.
Is that like just
cow manure?
Mulch? Oh, okay. You don't do like eggshells or crazy stuff like that?
Well, we have done a little bit of that, but sometimes there's some old wives' tales where you break an egg, when you plant like a tomato or a tree or something.
Right. Grow a chicken. You're right.
Yeah, exactly. Chicken tomato.
Oh,
side story. Think it'd be cool to have little chickens, but there's like a little joke that I have with my daughter that I always say that I would love to have buffalo chickens because I think that the eggs would taste really good.
Really? Yes.
Yeah, I don't know why I crack myself up with these stupid buffalo chickens. They're not real, obviously.
Well, you guys have
a buffalo
room.
chicken.
You could have chickens out there, right?
Yeah, but there's no such thing as buffalo chicken.
They're not?
No, it's like when you go and get buffalo chicken wings, oh my gosh.
That's where the wings come from.
Yeah.
You're so
the buffalo chicken wings would be so pretty.
Yes.
And they'd be just homegrown and organic. But yeah, I could have chickens, but I'm playing around with the idea of that. My daughter keeps telling me no, but one day maybe.
Well,
and
I heard they're
little
smelly.
goat.
I heard.
Well, yeah, they are.
And
it's a job. It would be a job.
It's not just a pet; it's a job.
Well, congratulations, Kris! Our shipment of 20 baby chicks is coming in tomorrow.
What?
Yes.
Clover's so happy.
Clover's our dog.
So, Erica, though, I was ask you, when you're looking at houses through the middle of winter, was it difficult to figure out what places were best for growing a garden because you're covered in snow at the time you look at these houses? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. A lot of it, it was just dead. Things were just dead, like grass and stuff like that. But I mean, it's not snowing every day or anything like that. It's probably maybe 3 or 4 times in the winter
I'm just saying,
season.
like saying if having a house with a garden is like a priority to you, I would think that when you see the ground, it's not ideal conditions for a garden at the time you're looking at the house. Doesn't make a difference from this house or that house when you're looking at places.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it did. My biggest thing was I just wanted space back there and,
Right.
Yeah, a lot of people do that. They'll say they want either yard or they want bigger house. It seems like most times you can't have both.
Right. That's exactly right. I looked at a lot of houses with 3 bedrooms because I really wanted Audrey and I to have, Audrey wanted a library, and stuff. So, but we ended up with one with just 2 bedrooms, but it's fine. We love it.
So speaking of your garden, I know you mentioned that you're just kind of emerging in your expertise around gardening. What types of produce do you cultivate?
So the last couple years I've done okra, which a friend of mine recommended. I started it from seed, and I was always kind of against using seeds starting from seed because I was always like, what are you, 80? Kind of jealous because of the, they have time to do it. And, typically they're green thumbs if they can do it from seed.
What is okra?
What are you talking about right now, Kris?
What's okra? Is that like I know orca is like a whale.
You've never had okra and you've never had fried okra?
I don't know what okra even is.
What? Or pickled okra?
What are you telling me right now?
Is it a pickle? What is it?
No.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, you're
Kristine,
going to have
to
Erica, you have to explain it to him.
Is it a fruit? Is it a vegetable?
It's a little vegetable. No, let's see.
Compared maybe to an asparagus, what would you say?
Yeah, probably the length of it, but maybe like a little wider.
Yeah, it's a little bit thicker.
They have like little hats,
Oh, you wear
and
okra
they're like
hats?
pointy on the bottom. I'll just send you guys a picture of my okra.
Okay. Well, so how do you serve it? Like, what do you do? You sprinkle it on your toast or what?
No.
No, you're just being silly.
I know. I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah. So
help me out here.
You can pickle it. You can fry it. My favorite is fried okra. When I lived in the Midwest and I went to school in Missouri, there was this great restaurant that we went to, and they had the best fried okra. And it was just like, it's like little tiny, I don't know how you would explain it. Like, do you know the little ice that you can get from like Sonic that looks like a little soda can?
No.
Okay.
It's like a little round, kind of like a little.
Yeah, they slice it.
They slice it like when you cut up asparagus, but you fry it in a little batter, and it's so good.
Okay, little like 1 inch little chunks.
Yes, basically it's like fried zucchini, but in smaller chunks, and then you dip it in ranch, and it's so delicious.
Is that the texture of a zucchini?
It's a little firmer.
Kind of fuzzy, yeah, and they're fuzzy sometimes.
Fuzzy. Like kumquat or something.
Oh my gosh,
kumquats are
pulling it all out right now.
But also too, I eat them raw. Like sometimes we'll pick them and I'll just eat them raw.
The Okies
pretty
eat them
good.
raw, honey.
Okies eat okra. Yeah.
So but you grow okra?
Mm-hmm. And some beans. I didn't do too many this year because for some reason it was really damp at the beginning of the year, or last year, I guess you could say. Damp, so it kind of, they just were susceptible to leaf disease and stuff. Mm-hmm. And the slugs, the slugs really got them. And so I was fighting those.
Now, can't beans grow like anywhere? Isn't like the thing about beans, they grow
That's what I thought, but I mean, the plants grew, but they were very stunted on growing any kind of produce.
Are beans like potatoes? Are they underground or are they above ground? I have no idea.
They grow above ground.
Oh, they do?
I think peanuts grow underground, don't they?
I think so.
Hey, I'm not the expert here. You are, right?
But when you say beans, are you talking like green beans and lima beans, or pinto beans and kidney beans and
refried beans?
So I grew green beans. I did find some soybeans, like already started soybeans hardware stores, and I grew them, but there wasn't enough. I didn't grow enough plants of it to actually have like enough to do my soy, like, how you'd have edamame or something. And then
I've wondered about growing beans though. Like when you look at a can of like pinto beans or kidney beans, I always wonder how many plants does it take to make like one dinner's worth of green beans? Like, is it 1 or 2 plants you can harvest enough for like a family of 4 to eat off of, or do you have to get like 20 plants?
Oh no, you don't have to do that. Once they're in their height of the season, like the year before last, I planted, I think probably 6 green bean plants, and I was giving them away. I was freezing them. So, I mean, you could easily have, fed your family several loads of times with that, like a family of 4.
Really?
There's 2 of us, yeah. But yeah,
okay.
We had a ton of them. But
do you have any other vegetables you grow?
Yeah, I grow tomatoes and peppers, and I've tried cucumbers both years. I'm not giving up, but they get what they call powdery mildew from the humidity and moisture and everything.
Powdery mildew.
Yeah, it's horrible. The stupid leaves, and then once you get that under control, these little squash or cucumber beetles and stuff like that come and or I think it was vine borers this year that kind of knocked him out. But
what? Vine board?
It's
Don't
just
you have
crazy.
to have like that crazy like net thing goes over them, or is that a greenhouse I'm thinking of, or you know what I'm saying? Like a covering, like a shed or
I
something.
thought you were going to say
No, like a shed for your garden or something. What's it called? Like a greenhouse?
a hothouse?
Hothouse? No, greenhouse.
I'm trying to think like a high tunnel. Is that what you mean?
Don't they have like mosquito nets, but for your garden?
Well, you can get nets and stuff like that to cover them, but I don't do that. I haven't done that yet.
Is it necessary though, or is it like a fad?
I think farmers use it to keep their, like, especially for like cabbages and stuff like that. Farmers cover it, and I've watched. There are other people that I watch on YouTube channels and stuff like that, and they'll cover their stuff to keep the pests away.
Oh yeah,
for organic farming.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
And
wasn't it all organic if it's grown in the ground?
You would think so, but if you use pesticides or something that is not.
Oh, so that's the qualification from non-organic to organic is just pesticides?
Well, I'm sure there are more, bullet points to.
All I ever knew about farming was that it grew at the store. That's
I was just going to say, Kris, you're asking questions, and part of me is sitting here looking at you across the studio like, do you really not know this? I guess that's because I grew up in a farm town and around agriculture my entire life. And so when you're asking these questions, I'm like, isn't this common sense? But I guess that it's
all
not.
I knew was that the green giant walked by, picked all the produce up, and put it in a can.
He just scoops up with his little buddy Sprout. Yeah, they just do all thing. That's
all I ever knew about farming. Wow. That's all I got. And EIO. That's all I did.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I try not to use any kind of anything to kill the bugs other than, my hands. It's kind of gross to like pick off bugs and stuff like that. But I do use sometimes like some organic pesticide that is certified organic,
Mm-hmm. Well, so we bought a house together for the first time. We've only been married for just over a year and a half. And so 4 months ago, we moved into this beautiful new house, and we have almost a half acre of land, and we have this big beautiful hill on the side of our property that is currently barren. I mean, there's
got weeds there. They grow
not
fine.
Weeds, but there's like ice plant and some like ground cover. But I've always wondered, for a person like me who kills every plant that she ever touches, where would you suggest that I get started to actually start, seeing if I can keep a couple of plants alive and enjoy some food off of them? What would be the entry level gardening pick?
Well, my I guess what led me to a couple of help, I'm going to plug Arrow Garden. They're in no way sponsoring me or anything, but there's a thing called Arrow Garden. Okay. And what you do is you get these little pods and you put them in there, and they just kind of sit in water. You set the timer, it has a light on it. So for 16 hours, the light's on and it does its thing. And then 8 hours, it turns off. But in those little pods, it has seeds, and you literally just put them in there. You put the fertilizer that they provide for you in there once a month, and it'll alert you when it's time to put the fertilizer in. And that's how I got started to kind of get my feet wet at the apartments. I was going to say too, at the apartments, we did have some potted tomatoes out on the porch, but they always died for whatever reason, but the Arrow Garden, it really helped get me, kind of ready for all of that. And I still use an Arrow Garden here and there, especially in the winter. I haven't done it this year. I've been kind of slacking on that, but
I was going to ask you, so what time is the best time for you to actually start planting stuff for you guys out there? Like, what is your season?
So the Farmer's Almanac predicts like around April 15th, April 18th for the last frost here. Last year, it ended up being, I think, the 27th of April, and it wiped out a whole bunch of my pepper plants that I had. But so I kind of like base it off of that. So it just kind of depends. Right now, the other day, about a week ago, I started brassicas, like brought some Romanesca broccoli, and then cabbages and things like that. And also leeks, onions, some herbs, and white sage and stuff like that. So I have those in the little seedling trays under some grow lights in my living room. And then here in the next couple of weeks, it'll be time to start tomatoes and things like that. I try to wait until after Valentine's Day to start that, just because I don't want them to get too big and have to hang out either in here or now I have a greenhouse that there are some finishing touches that a friend of mine built it for me. And so we have some finishing touches that we need to complete on there, but I can start putting stuff out there here in the next few weeks. So that'll be good. I'll have enough room, but I don't want the tomatoes to get too big and be stunted because they're not able to be up potted or planted in the ground in time.
That's a really good point.
When you do tomatoes, do you have those wire thingies, like a wire like cages for them?
Oh man. So I have tomato cages that I have used in the past and they work okay, but last year I had this, tomato jungle because these cages, they, knock them down and you want to keep them up so they can have proper airflow. So this year I'm going to try to get what they call cattle panels. Which is basically like a little fence that you can get and set them up to where I can prune my tomatoes and kind of guide them to where they need to go so they'll have proper airflow and I can go in and harvest them easier as well.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, we have irrigation and everything set up on that side hill. And so I have this vision eventually someday down the line of kind of creating almost like a stair step kind of approach to gardening where it's like, 10 or 20 feet long and you have like a planter and then a little bit further down the hill, you have another planter with something else. So it almost looks like it's kind of built into the hill, but it's kind of stepping down from each other. And so maybe one day we'll get to that point. But I was going to ask you specifically about how you share all of this information about gardening. You'd mentioned something about YouTube, but what is it that you do to share your process with other people?
Yeah, I just, kind of as I'm going, I'll have topics. Like the last one was where I am starting my seeds and which ones I'm starting and a little bit of why I'm doing, this particular ones that I'm doing. And a lot of times I'm just like, well, it says 8 to 12 weeks on there from the frost date. So let's just go ahead and try it. I don't believe it, but we'll try it,
Yeah,
Hopefully they do their thing. But yeah, I just go along with whatever is going on in my garden or in the life of, sort of thing. Or if there's something I think, well, I probably should talk about that because, I had those same questions and I worry about the same things with it, and some of the stuff too, like new vertical, like I have a vertical gardening system. And so I bought that because I wanted to minimize some of the footprint of the raised beds to where I could still plant loads of things, but have them all in one spot. So I talked about that and just different various things.
So basically categorizing your journey doing the gardening via YouTube, right?
Yeah.
So what is that YouTube channel called, by the way?
It's called Mon Jardin Okra.
Good insight. But
Yes,
what does that mean though?
So it's French for my garden on the corner, as my house is situated on the corner. So I thought it would be a good name. And I have a love for the French language, so I had to do that. But yeah, and my Instagram is also named that as well.
Oh, that's so fun. Well, so does your daughter get involved with the gardening with you?
Yeah, she does sometimes. It's kind of hit or miss if she's busy with school or something like that. But she really enjoys leeks.
Oh,
wait, what?
Leeks.
Like we don't like leeks in this house.
Leeks.
It's water leaks.
Water leaks. Yeah, I remember you hearing about that.
Yeah. So what is a leek? Other than water leak, that's all I know.
So it's in the allium family, which is like onions and garlic and things like that. But it's typically in a leek and potato soup, stuff like that. It's real savory, and she really likes to make leek and potato soup. She actually grew a couple of potatoes last year as well, and we ended up having to buy a bag of potatoes, and she incorporated it. And she was like, I grew and made this. It was so awesome.
That's wonderful.
Okay, so I have to ask you this question. Do you and your daughter watch Netflix?
Yes.
Okay, have you seen the show Emily in Paris?
Yes, where they said, do not do the leek and potato soup.
Yeah,
yes.
it's about the leek. It's not about the potato.
Yes.
Why does it always have to be about the potato? I was cracking up.
Oh, you guys are going right over my head.
Yeah, it was this. It's this show called Emily in Paris, Kris, and they were trying to rebrand the leek as being this like exotic like diet food for people, and they were
like a keto diet.
and,
Huh?
yeah, and
Kind of, yeah, the
the
leek
marketing
diet.
person was like, yeah, and we can do a leek and potato soup, and then the guy that is in charge of the like leek growing or whatever, he was like, no, enough with the potatoes. And it was like this whole ongoing thing where he just wanted the leeks to be promoted. So you made me think about that. That's so funny, because you don't hear about people saying very often that like they love leeks.
Yeah, she's wacky about it, but yeah, it's pretty funny. So I started some of those, and we have them growing. She's pretty excited to see them popping up and everything.
That's awesome. Well, I see that you also have a bachelor's in marketing. So do you think that your background in marketing is something that's helped you to really think about promoting your garden and trying to build awareness around gardening?
Maybe a little bit. I received my bachelor's in marketing in 2020. So I was a non-traditional student, and I haven't had the opportunity to, put it into practice. So this is kind of my way of, on the side, kind of strengthening those muscles and trying to figure things out with it and just keep going with that. I actually started a TikTok also.
Look at you.
I have like 3 posts on there, 2 posts, something like that.
Okay.
But I'm like, okay.
Are they funny?
The first ones, yeah, they're actually kind of funny. Silly, I guess,
I think
more.
That's what gets traction is the whole funnies is what people like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can never figure out how to break the algorithms for TikTok and Instagram. I'm constantly trying
You're
to
doing
come
a
up.
fantastic job,
No,
babe.
but I'm not getting that many people like watching my. I only had like 500 views on my reel yesterday. No, but like in the world of
like
Instagram,
4.
that's like nothing. But I think of like TikTok, I haven't even ventured into that. I mean, I look at the app and I know that there's people that are doing great stuff on there, but for me, I'm just like,
it's a lot of work though, too. Some of those TikTokers, you call them TikToks, whatever they are. Whatever they are, they put a lot of thought and effort in video and production and
they really
and timing and music, and it's a full on like a music video production. It probably takes some weeks to figure that out.
Yeah, one of my friends, she's a bridal hairstylist, and she posts very consistently. And finally, one of her TikTok videos went viral overnight. She just like woke up the next morning.
Oh, wow.
And it had gone like, I don't know, like over 1 million views. And so now she's at the point she has enough followers where she can monetize her videos. And it was like,
oh, nice.
Yeah, but she just had to be really consistent. And so I don't know, like Instagram is enough for me. I know I should be venturing into TikTok, but I just think it would just take too much time. So
it all takes time, really.
Right. So what do you post about on TikTok as it relates to your...
Mostly, the plants. There was the first TikTok that I did, and I shared it on Instagram as well, but I had a dead plant. And so I played that One Republic song, It's Too Late, or Apologize,
yeah.
And so I just kind of like lip sync part of the verse, and then whenever he goes to it's too late, I leaned over and showed the plant, and so I was like, oh well. But just the stuff that I post on Instagram, I try to do it daily, but it's been difficult in the winter time, Well, in the winter time, there's not really anything going on.
Oh, that's very true. So what do you guys do as gardeners in the winter time?
Prep. Just buy loads and loads of seeds.
Oh, you can?
And just...
They don't go bad?
Oh, no. So that's all, on the back of it, it'll say it's packed for, say it's packed for December of, 21, or the spring season for 22. As long as you keep them in a cool, dry place, they'll be totally fine. And there are people who have seeds for years and years and years. The germination rate might go down a little bit, but as long as you take care of them and keep them dry and in a cool place, they should be all right.
Okay, I have a very important question for you. It's something that I have never been able to wrap my head around. So there are, and I know that you're a vegetable and a gardening kind of person.
You called her a vegetable. That's
a vegetable gardening person. But I know that, so you talked about seeds, but I know that you can also, well, for flowers, you can plant bulbs and grow things. But I've also heard that you can plant pieces of certain types of vegetables, and that kind of functions as a seed. Like I heard that, I could be wrong, that you could plant a potato and from it another potato will grow. Is that true?
Yeah. The Martian, they did that, right?
No, I'm just thinking, like these are things I've heard. I heard that maybe you could do it with a carrot too, but can you tell us what types of plants you can plant?
From the plant?
From the vegetable.
Yeah, so potatoes, absolutely, you can do that. Garlic. So if you have a clove, like say you've left your garlic clove on your counter or something like that, and you'll see it sprouting, or even an onion. That happens with onions also. You can plant those and have another, onion or actually full on garlic bulbs come out. I mean, it takes a little time. Same thing with ginger roots. You can do that.
Those
And
are all
actually,
plants that are underground, right? Like in the dirt.
Yes, and I was going to say tomato plants. So on tomato plants, I don't know if you guys have heard this word before, but there's a thing called a sucker on the tomato plants.
It's usually when someone tries to sell you something that you don't want.
Yeah, and then you turn into the sucker. So what it is on mostly, I mean, I guess it could be on indeterminate or determinate. So indeterminate tomato plants are ones that they're basically the ones that vine, or for, lack of a better way to describe it, they vine. But determinate, they stay fairly small. I mean, they still get pretty big, but they're more of a bush type thing. But the indeterminate specifically are the ones I'm talking about, where they have like in the elbow or the little armpit of the plant, there's like another little stalk that'll grow. And you can do, typically people will prune those off. But if you prune that off, you can either put it in dirt or put it in water, and you can grow another plant from that.
No way.
Yeah.
It's like cloning the plant, kind of?
Basically, yeah, or propagating is a term. But same thing with like basil. So if you go to the store and you get the basil in the packages, mint, things like that, you can propagate that. So if you want more, basil, you could just put it in there and let it root out, and you have another plant. So it's basically getting a plant for free,
Yeah.
an extra plant.
Now you mentioned tomatoes, but so I think of tomatoes and strawberries. Like strawberries have seeds on the outside, tomatoes have seeds on the inside, bell peppers have seeds on the inside. If I was, and I mean this genuinely, I don't know this. So if I was to cut open a tomato or a bell pepper or just plant a strawberry, would it grow from that, or do I need to go and get some type of specialty seeds to make them grow?
No, you should be able to grow them. The problem with tomatoes, maybe strawberries, but mainly tomatoes and peppers, I would say, they're nightshades. What happens with that is when they're pollinated, you could cross-pollinate. And so you may not get you're getting this tomato and you have it, but it could have been somewhere. If you're getting it from the store and you're doing that, you don't know exactly what tomato it is. So you may not get the same one because it could have been cross-pollinated or something like that. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing that. You can just test it out, I would. But yeah, you can dry those seeds out, or probably you could try planting it. Some people, I've seen weird pictures on some of the Facebook things that I follow for gardeners and stuff like that, where weirdly enough, they cut open a tomato and they open it up and there were like little sprouts coming from the seeds.
Creepy.
Oh, wow.
That's
And it was
weird.
just like, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my goodness. But yeah, I mean, it may not be the taste exactly like the tomato you had, because it could have been.
What's the point, right? I mean, it tastes like a tomato.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, it would taste like a tomato. It just wouldn't probably be the variety. And just like if you were to go to a farmer's market and you're like, oh, I really like this tomato, and you saved the seeds and then you planted it, it may not be exactly that, but I mean, what's the harm in trying it?
I had no idea. Honestly, I thought it would be the same thing. I thought it was, planting an apple tree, because I love apples so much. And my favorite kind of apple is the envy apples. I love those so much. And, so I'll get the seeds from this and throw it in the backyard, see what happens.
Yeah, we totally should. But, talking about cross-pollination, I do have a funny story. So I did try to have a garden one time, and I was actually successful. This is, 10 years ago plus. But in my little raised garden bed, I think I planted everything slightly too close together, and especially the arugula and the jalapenos, and they ended up getting cross-pollinated. And so I would pick my arugula thinking I was going to have just like put it in a sandwich or put it in a salad. And it ended up being spicy arugula. And
no way, you invented something new.
Yeah, it was like spicy. It totally tasted like it had jalapeno. And then I realized, it was probably cross-pollinated because it was way too close together. And
that's it. I'm growing them together. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So are you supposed to grow things apart? Like if you grow one plant, like one vegetable away from the other vegetable? Like, I don't know. I wouldn't know this stuff.
Well, there's they call them companion planting, where you can put things together and you shouldn't do certain things together. But sometimes you can't help it. You have to do it. But some people recommend putting herbs with tomatoes like basil or something that's strong smelling, or like borage, which is an edible flower, but it smells like and tastes like celery weirdly. But they recommend doing that so kind of ward off the hornworms or some other pests that could come, whiteflies, stuff like that. But yeah, I try to pay attention to a little bit of which ones I'm not supposed to plant with what, but I don't know. I still do it. It's kind of hard because you're like, well, I'm planning this out, and where do I have space that I can put this?
Right.
So I did Brussels sprouts with peppers last year, and I realized that I wasn't supposed to do that because the Brussels sprouts deplete all of the nutrients from the soil.
Like a weed or something?
Kind of, I guess. Just, I don't know. Yeah.
Erica, is it possible if you had, say, the climate of San Diego where you're at right now, would it be possible to grow all of your food, you think?
I think so. There are some people that I watch actually that I believe he's in San Diego, and he does all sorts of things.
Oh yeah, what's his name?
Let's see, Kevin. I don't know how to say his last name, but the channel is the Epic Gardening.
Oh, cool. I follow a guy his name is Jared, and it's Jared's Real Food, and he lives out here in the El Cajon area, and he actually grows so much that he has a fresh grocery delivery service for like fresh produce. And so the reason that I know him is because one night he came and delivered to our door thinking that he was delivering to somebody else. And I was like, oh no, you have the wrong house. But I was like, but who are you? And then I followed him on Instagram, and he has this beautiful farm where he's growing lots of different kinds of produce. And I think about that, out where we live in San Diego, because we're on the fringe a little bit, people start to have more land. And I even started thinking about this, like, if we wanted to eat more fruits and veggies, why aren't we putting in the work to grow them here on our own land where we have plenty of space? And then
absolutely.
On top of it, Kris, we could just, get you a couple chickens and a cow, and then we'll call it a day.
We'll be off the grid completely.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So it's certainly possible, loads of things. I mean, we're in Oklahoma where we have the cold weather, and I have like a kumquat tree and a Meyer lemon and some olive trees that I put them in my garage. I mean, they're in containers, and I put them in my garage in the winter, and they're not exactly crazy happy, but they, they're surviving.
They weather the weather.
Yeah. I'm like, just hang in here just a little longer. And then the bees will be having their fun with you. So.
Yeah. Well, so Erica, remind our listeners again where they can find you and follow along on your gardening journey as you do great things.
Yeah, thank you. So you can find me on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter under Mon Jardin Aucoin, and it's MonJardinAucoin.
Perfect. And we will definitely put all of that information in our notes from today's show. Any last words that you'd like to leave with our listeners for today?
No, just if you're thinking about gardening, just do it. If that's what you want to do, and if not, then just watch me and I'll do it for you. You can live vicariously through me.
I love that.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for being on the show, Erica, and best of wishes when it comes to gardening in this spring.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me, and good luck if you guys try it. Get in touch with me if you have any questions that I can help you with.
For sure. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hey there, K2 crew. We love having you as our loyal listeners.
To keep up to date with what's happening behind the scenes, check us out on social media.
Yeah, you can find us on Instagram and Twitter.
And don't forget to follow our Facebook page.
Yeah, tag us in your favorite fun stories, and guess what? You might just end up on the show.
Ooh.
It's so nice to have Erica on the show. And did you know that Erica and Derek Duvall are BFFs?
I didn't know that.
Over there in Tulsa?
But I kind of figured that out through the course of the interview.
Yeah, I believe she told me that they met at a bar or festival. That's how they got together. They met up. But I asked Derek, I said, hey, does old Mrs. Duvall get very jealous you talking to different girls at these festivals? Oh, no, we're very tight like that. We're very cool. No, I got a lot of friends that are girls, and she's got friends that are guys, and it's all good. Speaking
of friends that are girls and friends that are guys, do you get jealous if I have friends that are guys?
Not really. No, I really don't, because I know that if you can have friends that are guys, and I got friends that are girls, and it's okay.
But you can't have friends that are girls. I'm not okay with that.
Okay, then. Well, wait a second.
Time out.
If you can, then why can't I?
Well, because I am like bulletproof when it comes to being swayed by other people. And you, mister, when you see a pretty lady,
Wait a second.
You're like an owl. It's like the neck goes 360 degrees around. And you're like,
are you trying to say that was it in the restaurant that one night? And he said, you're totally checking her out. I said, no, I was not checking her out. She had tattoos from head to toe. And I was like reading her artwork is what I was doing.
Reading her artwork.
Yeah.
Wink, wink. I'm just reading her artwork, Kristine. Yes, Chris.
But she did have tattoos head to toe.
Okay. But the point being, I do get jealous. I get very jealous. And I've never been like that in my life before. And I'm secure in our relationship. But with that being said, I still don't like you looking at other girls.
What about if other girls call me or text me?
I mean, if it's like your secretary at work, that's not a big deal. Or if it's like other podcasters that are asking for your advice, like that's not a big deal. But like ex-girlfriends texting you, like that's not necessary.
What about ex-wives that text me?
Okay. But no, we're not going into that. Nope. Danger, Will Robinson.
So if girls that I'm not dating, I'm not dating. The girls I used to date.
You better not be dating them. Where in the world? See, exactly. This is why you can't have friends that are girls. You're like, suddenly I forgot I was married.
No.
I think that part of it goes back to having a background of being cheated on.
Yeah,
I get very, very sensitive to those things. That's why I'm really shocked that you're not like more jealous and territorial. Sometimes I wish you would be.
I am, but I have to hold it in, baby. I hold
Why?
I think.
No, you play it too cool like a cucumber. You're like, I don't care. You can have all the guy friends that you want. I'm like, don't you get jealous? Like,
actually,
don't you think that I'm hot enough that they would want me?
I do. Yes, and yes. That is very true, babe. But I think with me, when it comes to jealousy, they're never going down this jealousy path on the podcast, is that I believe it's when you give me a reason to, like any kind of reason to, like that's when my wheels start spinning, you know?
Well, I don't want wheels spinning. I just want you to be like, don't look at my woman and be like, yeah, she's with me. Don't look at her. I want you to like pretend fight somebody for me. That's so... that's a girl's dream. Like
to fight over you?
Yes, to fight over me.
Yeah.
Like to be like, my wife is so hot that I'll go to blows with you. Don't look at my girl.
Oh, well, yes. In my mind, I do. Yes.
In your mind?
I do that.
In your mind, you're having a boxing match with the person?
Right. I'm like doing this whole thing where like in the movies, they throw them through the front window and like they go flying to the street.
Thank you for that.
That's
for
what I
my
do.
birthday, can you like stage a fight with somebody over me? That would be so amazing. I would love that so much.
Well, I know somebody who wants to fight me.
It's Mickey Mouse for stealing his voice.
Oh. Say, you want to go for a round? Okay, kick your butt, mister. Hey, give me your voice back. I didn't say that. That's not cool. Hey,
Okay.
I love your podcasting studio, by the way.
Okay, enough. Mickey, don't mess with my man.
Well, what's going on here?
Okay, all right. Well,
I didn't know Matthew McConaughey was here too.
See, it gets irritating. Ladies and gentlemen, I live with this. And he just goes full Mickey mode.
Hey, my name's Mickey Mouse. Say, you want to come inside my clubhouse?
Okay,
right.
Okay, it's too much.
No, it's not okay.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, where can everybody find our podcast and find out more about us, Mickey?
Well, you can find it at www.KrisandKristineShow.com.
If you can't tell, we're a little bit punchy. Did you notice that was like that awkward pause? Like, who's gonna go next? Is Mickey gonna still show back up? No more. Mickey, go home.
Man. Oh boy. Oh gosh, I gotta go. Hey, Goof, wanna go for a ride? Let's get out of here.
All right. Kris, you've had too much fun tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for sticking around with us, and we will be back with you
next week.